As the summer movie season begins to kick into high gear, I thought it would be nice to take a look at another one of our favorite times of the movie-going year, award season. And while this might seem like an incredibly early look at the frontrunners, there's becoming such a science to award season that we actually can predict the contenders this early on. Of course, hopefully we might get a surprise or two, but let's break this down like the savvy award season connoisseurs that we are. We'll start with the mini distributors whose bread and butter is award season, most notably the king himself, Harvey Weinstein. Now, with the exception of Antoine Fuqua and Jake Gyllenhaal's Southpaw, a number of his films set for this year don't have specific release dates, so some could find themselves pushed to 2016. But here's what he's got planned at the moment. He's got Quentin Tarantino's new film, Hateful Eight, and Tarantino has proved to be quite the Oscar darling as of late. However, Tarantino's lucky charm, Christoph Waltz, is actually appearing in Harvey's long-gestating project Tulip Fever, starring Dane DeHaan and Alicia Vikander. Weinstein also has Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard's Macbeth, a cooking film with Bradley Cooper directed by August Osage County's John Wells, as well as a World War II drama starring his My Week with Marilyn star Michelle Williams. But his strongest contender might be Carol, a Mad Men-esque period piece starring Cate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, Sarah Paulson, and Kyle Chandler. Carol is based on Strangers on a Train and the talented Mr. Ripley novelist Patricia Highsmith's The Price of Salt, and is Todd Haynes' first film since 2007's I'm Not There. Next up, let's turn our focus to Focus Features. They've become a tad more commercial recently, and at the moment only seem to have two real awards contenders. But what contenders? Their trump card is The Danish Girl, with recent Oscar winner Eddie Redmayne starring as one of the world's first transgender patients back in 1930s Germany. The King's Speech and Les Mis director Tom Hooper is at the helm here as well. Then they have Suffragette, the UK's star-studded film about the British movement to get the vote for women, starring Carey Mulligan, Helena Bonham Carter, and Meryl Streep. Now, Fox Searchlight has a very competitive slate. They land in Sundance sensation Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, which hopes to follow in the footsteps of previous Sundance splashes Fruitvale Station and especially Whiplash. Then Brooklyn also has strong buzz, another 1950s period piece, this time focusing on Irish immigrants in the famous New York City borough. Donald Gleason, Saoirse Ronan, Jim Broadbent, and Julie Walters star. Far from the madding crowd, another Carey Mulligan picture could also be a contender, and then there's True Story. Now, on the surface, True Story might not seem like much, but all three of its leads, Jonah Hill, James Franco, and Felicity Jones, are Oscar nominees. And of course, there's Sony Pictures Classics, which will look to compete with Mark Ruffalo's Infinity Polar Bear, as well as Woody Allen's Irrational Man, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Emma Stone. Whew! And again, that's just the specialty circuit. The big studios have gotten pretty good at launching awards contenders themselves, and this year will be no different. Warner Brothers has their Whitey Bulger bio Black Mass, starring Johnny Depp, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Joel Edgerton. They also have Creed, the latest entry in the Rocky franchise. And don't forget, the original Rocky was a huge Oscar winner. Plus, Fruitvale Station's Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan reteam here. Rush's Ron Howard and Chris Hemsworth also reteam for In the Heart of the Sea, and let's see if Warner Brothers does a better job getting them to the front of the pack than Universal did with Rush. As for Universal, this year they've got just one contender, the Aaron Sorkin scripted, Danny Boyle directed Steve Jobs movie, starring Michael Fassbender and Seth Rogen, that they wrestled away from Sony, as exposed in all those leaked emails. But Sony won't enter award season empty-handed, as they still have Robert Zemeckis' The Walk starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, as well as the controversial NFL expose Concussion, starring Will Smith as real-life whistleblower Dr. Bennett Omalu. Meanwhile, Fox will be sending Matt Damon back to space just 1 year after Interstellar, as he stars in The Martian for Ridley Scott. Interstellar's Jessica Chastain also stars, with Scott directing a script by Drew Goddard. Fox might actually be the most competitive of all the big studios this year, as they also have the new David O. Russell, Jennifer Lawrence movie Joy, as well as Alejandro Inarritu's follow-up to Birdman, The Revenant, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy. As for Disney, they hope to compete with another reteaming, this time a classic one, as Tom Hanks partners with Steven Spielberg again for Bridge of Spies. And wait, there's actually more. Open Road, after a solid showing with Nightcrawler, will try to do even better this year with Oliver Stone's Snowden, also starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt as well as Shailene Woodley. Then newbie distributor Bleecker Street will also try to enter the awards race with Trumbo, starring Bryan Cranston as blacklisted screenwriter Dalton Trumbo. Helen Mirren, John Goodman, and Louis C.K. also star. And finally, Netflix, after so much success with television at the Emmys and Golden Globes, will try to take on film and the Oscars with Beasts of No Nation, the indie they acquired thanks to a big check making huge headlines. But we'll see if the Idris Elba flick, directed by True Detective's Cary Fukunaga, is shut out during award season, just as theater owners plan to shut it out of multiplexes. So that's the expected Oscar lineup. Which films do you think are the strongest contenders? And keep in mind the Academy is considering going back to just 5 nominations for Best Picture, so this could get ugly. Write your thoughts down below. I'm Grace Randolph, and this has been a Movie Bite. You can watch more right now.